In this video, we're going to talk about how to classify matter. But to get started with that, we have to define it. Matter is vaguely defined as anything that takes up space and has mass. Mass is a much more complicated idea that we can really conquer in physics class, where it's something that resists a change in motion. So you can think of things that have more mass, like a semi-truck, as being more difficult to move around. In chemistry, though, we're talking about really tiny things. The first way we can classify matter is by describing its state of matter. When we say the state of matter, we're usually talking about whether it's a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Solids are our most rigid state of matter. They do not take the shape of their container. They have the highest amount of intermolecular forces, so they're more difficult to separate than liquids or gases, and their molecules are packed very closely together. Liquids, on the other hand, have more freedom of motion, but they will not spread out and take up the shape of an entire container, just the bottom portion. They still experience these things called intermolecular forces to a pretty high degree. Those are the forces that hold molecules near each other. We'll talk a lot about those later. Gases have the fewest amount of intermolecular forces. In fact, most of the time we assume that the stickiness factor of molecules sticking together doesn't affect gases at all. And that's how most of our gas equations work. We assume that gases move around with the most freedom and that they take up the entire space of their container. Other ways of classifying matter include describing what kinds of atoms are present in a sample and how they're connected together. The first classification of matter is an element. It's our most simple idea. An element is a substance that is made up of only one kind of atoms. By kind of atoms, we're talking about how many protons are inside of that atom. For example, if we had the element hydrogen, hydrogen usually only exists of two different types of isotopes. Every once in a while there's a third one, but usually it's only two. Most hydrogen atoms have one proton in them, and that's it. Just a proton and a bouncing electron on the outside. But mass-wise, we just count that one proton. So we would say that it has a mass of 1 atomic unit. There is another type of hydrogen that's included in things like heavy water called deuterium. That hydrogen also has one proton, which is the defining feature of being a part of that element, but it has an extra neutron to make it a little bit heavier. Either way, a combination of any kind of hydrogen atoms, when it's only hydrogen atoms, is called an element. That is a collection of atoms that are of the same kind, those that have the same number of protons. A compound, on the other hand, is a mixture of two different kinds of elements connected through a chemical bond. An example could be water that has two different elements in it, hydrogen connected to an oxygen connected to another hydrogen. Or we could have examples like sodium chloride, table salt. And that chemical is, well, you could write its formula sodium chloride, so you can see that there's two different elements there, but it's really better to model it as having a sodium ion charge and a chloride ion charge closely connected together in a lattice, and that's repeating, and we'll go over that later. Mixtures are slightly more complicated. Obviously, they're going to be a mixture of two different things. These mixtures can be of two different elements in the case of alloys. Those are pretty cool. If you've ever seen a brass instrument, Brass is usually a mixture of zinc and copper atoms, heated and mixed together. There's other kinds of mixtures where we have something called a solution. Solutions are pretty cool. We usually use the word homogeneous for this. And you can think of a solution as something like salt water, where you have a container that has both your compounds, sodium chloride, and molecules of water surrounding them. The cool thing about homogeneous mixtures is that you can't really tell the difference of what mixture makeup or mixture percentages between the salts and the waters are in any sample of this liquid. So you could scoop up a sample of sodium chloride, and inside of it would be the exact same concentration of sodiums and chlorides as there would be in any other portion of the sample. It makes it visibly indistinguishable between what is the sodium chloride and what is the water. They look mixed up so well that it looks like it's all the same thing. The last kind of mixture is called a heterogeneous mixture. And those are the most easy to spot. There are things that are mixed up that are not perfectly mixed. Something like granite, where you can actually visibly see the different minerals inside of the granite. Or looking at a salad, and you can see there's clearly lettuce and strawberries and nuts or whatever else you're throwing in there. In our next video, we'll go over how we can take a mixture and separate it into its individual compounds or elements.